Welcome to the latest DTV. I'm delighted to be here today with Jeff Pigatto. He's the VP and Global Head of Salesforce Practice at Sageza, a management and technology consultancy recently acquired by InfoStretch. Jeff's career has spanned a wide range of business technology and consulting functions, all focused on delivering best-in-class business solutions for clients. For the last 10 years, Jeff is focused on building great practice-driven Salesforce capabilities. Welcome to DTV, Jeff.
Thanks, Avery. Really appreciate you having me on.
So, you've done a lot of work with Salesforce. The first question, of course, is Salesforce. How much, when we talk about Salesforce, what is it really? How much of it is just sales? How much is it something more? And where do you draw the line?
Yeah, no, great question. Obviously sales is in the name, and that's what people think about when they think about Salesforce. But in reality, it's evolved into a lot more than that. And in fact, we're helping customers with not only sales, but their customer service and marketing, and really that whole customer journey, managing that customer experience and all the interactions that a company has with its customers along that journey. And so it's a platform full of more capabilities than just sales, for sure.
And when we talk about customer journey, it'd be interesting. Like, what do you mean by that? What does it mean to start a journey? What does it mean to end a journey? And what are the events that happen along that journey?
Yeah, I know. So really, when you think about customer experience or the customer journey, it's a set of interactions that happen from the first time a potential customer starts to encounter your brand to kind of, after they've purchased a product or service from you and now they need help or your, ongoing care and feeding around that product. And so it often starts with them trying to understand and educate themselves about your product, learn about it and the tools that you provide for them to do that. And really continues through that purchasing experience. How easy is it to get help after the purchase? What do they tell their friends about it? Do they come back to buy additional products? Really every touch point along the way is really kind of that part of that journey.
So with Salesforce, one of the areas that you and I focused a lot on is healthcare. So yeah. How would Salesforce apply in a situation like that? Because there's not even really a sale in the traditional sense of a sale there.
Yeah, that's really interesting, right? So one of the things that Salesforce has done over the last several years is really a migration toward industry clouds, and healthcare and health cloud is one of those. And you're right, there is no sale, right? But that was an industry that was very ready for a better patient experience, right? And so you think about the fact that doctors' offices, provider networks, you go see your primary care physician and you get a referral to maybe go see a specialist. Often that patient never went to see that specialist, and there was no tracking of who is actually going to see the doctors that we're recommending. Are they taking the medications that we're prescribing, going to actually pick them up? Are people actually adhering to the care plans that doctors were prescribing? And if not, how do you intervene to help ensure that you can get them back on track or entice them to do the right thing for themselves or to go see that next doctor? And so it's really, there's been this trend toward managing a patient experience from not only kind of the network of doctors, but their care plan, their medications, everything that kind of revolves around that patient. And you see the same thing in the health insurance space too, where companies are now using Salesforce to kind of manage that member journey, that journey kind of from I've seen a doctor and is this going to be covered? That whole thing, right? So it's being used in ways that I think maybe a lot of people don't realize.
So it's interesting that we keep, as you were talking, the customer journey touches by definition a lot of different groups and systems, I should say, within an organization. So then how do you start to get started on this journey? Is it you got to do it all at once? If you do it incrementally, how do you phase it in an intelligent way? because changing all that all at once is pretty risky, since it's the whole, that journey is the revenue journey also.
Yeah, right. Now, I think companies need to look at that journey kind of from beginning to end and ask themselves, we need to do this well at every step, but maybe where is the lowest hanging fruit? Where is the best opportunity for us to improve the customer's perception of our brand? Some companies may provide a very good sales experience or purchasing experience, but not do so well on the follow-up that comes afterwards, or vice versa. So while you do need to make sure that from beginning to end you're providing that experience, I think you can pretty quickly identify, through some key metrics, where you're not meeting customers' expectations, or maybe where the perception of you breaks down. And I would focus on those areas first. So, for example, if you're hearing from customers that the purchasing experience is clunky and really hard to navigate, I would focus there, and I would look to do some things that maybe provide a better online shopping experience, a better shopping cart, easier payments. If the breakdown is after you've purchased that product and now you're looking for help or additional information, that's where I think you need to look then at everything from your contact center to what kind of self-service opportunities are you providing for the customer to come and maybe learn from a community, or maybe knowledge articles that you've published out there for them to help themselves. Can they easily submit a case and get help either online or on social media or through SMS text, some easy channel that they want to come to you in? So I think you really just need to look at and every company is going to be different. You need to look at kind of where you're breaking down in that customer experience, and then focus on those areas first.
So it sounds like the first thing is to do a diagnostic.
It is.
Diagnostic, look at your hot spots, and then that will kind of drive your ROI analysis. Is that the right way to think about this?
It is. There are a set of metrics, many of which companies are already using, but maybe not using it to kind of figure out kind of their ROX, or return on experience, right? It's really about looking at that complete customer journey, and then determining what are the metrics that matter at each step, and how are we doing in those metrics? How are we doing against our peers, against the industry, and saying, all right, let's focus on these weakest areas first, and then we'll kind of have a phased approach to how we roll this out, because trying to do it all at once may be a bit tricky.
So it sounds like you also then have a set of kind of industry norms for spend rates and response times and the like that you could bring to bear as somebody was trying to make these decisions to see, you might think you're bad, but you're not bad for the market. And other times you might think you're okay, but you're way off center. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of traditional metrics that companies use to measure the sales and the service and marketing, kind of experience there. I think there are also a lot of non-traditional metrics that can be used. And for example, and I'm seeing more and more of this as we look toward the future here. It's often you can impact the customer experience by positively impacting the employee experience. Mm-hmm. And so I remember talking to a manager in a contact center for a large phone company a few years ago, and he said, it takes us 12 weeks to onboard a new agent because of the complexity of our systems. And then we've got 140% turnover. So we invest all this money and then they don't stay very long. And so, what we were able to do for them is really help them put a solution in place that was so much easier to learn, that the onboarding process was shrunk from 12 weeks to 4 weeks. And then the ease of use made it a lot less frustrating. And that comes through. Happy employees will often result in happy customers. And so, just looking at those kinds of metrics, around employees as well, can offer a lot of guidance around, how you can improve your customer experience.
And based on your experience, you and your team have got some set of metrics and an approach to help people do that diagnostic.
We do. So we use an approach that we call blueprinting. Others may call it something else. And what we typically do is we'll help our customers who are maybe getting started on their Salesforce journey, and we'll help them if they've already defined metrics and they know kind of which needles they're trying to move and where they want to move them, what we can do is help them identify which capabilities of this platform will actually move those needles the most, and kind of what are the priorities in terms of deploying those capabilities. Other customers need help in defining those metrics to begin with, and we can do that as well. But often, by the time they've decided that they need Salesforce, they've already done some business case that says, here's where we're falling down and where we think we need to improve, and these are the metrics we're going to use to measure it. And what we can do is make sure that we're only focused on deploying the platform capabilities that will actually move those needles in the right direction.
Well, good. This has been really helpful. Are there any other key points do you think people should be thinking about as they consider Salesforce as a technology that they're using in their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly, as we've talked about from a customer experience perspective, it has a lot to offer, and in fact is at the center of many companies' customer experience strategy. But it's also, as I mentioned, a platform that a platform as a service where you can do many things, build other applications. It has industry solutions. With the acquisition of Slack, it's really taking collaboration to the next level. So, it's truly become an enterprise platform as opposed to just something to manage your sales team.
Well, Jeff, thank you very much for joining us. It's been really great to have you on, and thank you for the insight about Salesforce, how to look at where it's applied and how to make sure that the implementation is successful.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure. Thanks.
As always, if you've got ideas about great DTV ideas, feel free to mail them in, and look forward to seeing you on in our next installment. Thank you.